Hello, my name is Jay. I'm with Bite Size Coins, and I have an article here today that I thought I would comment on. It is Digital Yuan will be more competitive than the digital dollar, says Bridgewater's Ray Dalio. Whew. Okay, well, far be it from me to disagree with Mr. Dalio here. I'm sure he is a very wise man. He's obviously made a lot of money. But I'm going to read this article and I'm going to tell you why I disagree with Ray Dalio. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. The article is by Yogita Khatri. I believe that's how you pronounce that. Again, sorry if that's wrong. All right, so let's go ahead and read the article first. All right, what do we got? Bridgewater Associate founder Ray Dalio said that the digital yuan will be more competitive than the digital dollar. Dalio also expects China's yuan to become a top reserve currency sooner than expected. Ray Dalio, a billionaire investor and the founder of the world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates, has said that the digital yuan will be more competitive than the digital dollar. In an interview with CNBC on Monday, Dalio said he thinks the U.S. will issue a digital dollar one day, and it will certainly be viable, but it won't be the most competitive one, with its value possibly hit by growing U.S. debt levels, he added. The digital yuan, on the other hand, will be more competitive in terms of pricing and return, said Dalio. It will be a very viable alternative to many investors if it is accepted internationally and comes with an attractive interest rates, he said. Okay, well, that's a pretty important caveat, I would say. Let's continue on. I think we're going to enter a world in which people will be thinking which currency, and the ones that have the best fundamentals will be the ones that will be most competitive, and that'll be threatening to countries, said Dalio. Yuan, a top reserve currency. Dalio also expects China's yuan to become the top reserve currency sooner than expected. China is currently the world's largest trading nation, meaning it is the number one country in exports and imports. Dalio expects more trade and more financial transactions to be denominated in the yuan. I think you're going to see the renminbi become a more significant and strong currency, stable currency, more attractive returning currency, and also more widely used currency in the years ahead, said Dalio. Currently, the dollar is the world's largest reserve currency with a share of nearly 60%, according to data from the International Monetary Fund. China's yuan currently has a share of about 2%, behind the euro, Japanese yen, and British pound, per the IMF data. But Dalio expects the yuan share to increase to around 10 to 15% in 5 to 10 years' time. So the beginning 2 to 3% every year for the next 5 to 10 years. That's interesting. I think incrementally it will happen faster probably than most people expect, he said. A lot has to do not just with what China does, it has to do with what the dollar does. Well, I can agree with him on that. China is nearing the launch of its digital yuan after over 6 years of research and development, as the bloc has previously reported. The U.S., on the other hand, has only recently started exploring the idea of creating a digital version of its currency. The Federal Reserve plans to publish a discussion paper this summer on the potential issuance of a digital dollar. In the interview, Dalio also said that the digital yuan would compete with Bitcoin, an alternative currency. But the digital yuan will not completely take over the crypto market, he said. Nothing ever completely takes over anything. All right, well, okay, I can agree with him on that. I want you to look at this guy here. This guy has made a lot of money. Obviously, he's smart in that way. He's, the founder of Bridgewater Associates, which is, I think, one of the top, let's see, what is it? The world's largest hedge fund. Okay, so the guy is smart. So I understand why people might listen to him. And why should you listen to this, random YouTube guy with all but 3 followers so far? I just started my channel, by the way. That's probably why. Why would you listen to me over Ray Dalio? Well, I want you to use your head. I want you to think about it a little bit, okay? The digital yuan, right? This is the cryptocurrency that is supposedly going to come out of China. This is going to be what they're probably making a move, and this is how they're going to move into it, right? Why wouldn't they do that? They're control freaks, right? Digital currency or cryptocurrency can be used for a couple of different things. Well, one of the things is that you can pretty much track everything in it, right? So if you force the digital yuan to be the new currency and everything's digital, which is the way everything is moving, everything can be tracked. Well, the CCP is a control freak, right? The Chinese Communist Party is a control freak. Now, what is this going to look like? Do we have any indication of that? I haven't really been able to find anything about that, what the details of this is going to be. But there's two things that cryptocurrency is supposed to be that I just don't see happening with the digital yuan, and probably not with the US dollar, to be completely honest with you, or any country-backed digital currency. Why is that the case? Well, for one, it's supposed to be decentralized, right? Do you ever see the CCP letting control of their digital dollar without their input? It's going to be totally centralized, right? This is going to be out of Beijing, right? The CCP is going to have their fingerprints all over this all of the time. And if you start trading in digital yuan, guess what? The Chinese or the CCP, they're going to know everything that you purchased, right? This is not decentralized. This will not be decentralized. It's also supposed to be limited, right? A lot of people, all right, not every cryptocurrency is limited. But the idea behind Bitcoin and the idea behind a lot of cryptocurrency was as it has to be limited. It has to be limited to some degree, right? You don't want people to be able to just go ahead and manufacture a whole bunch of new dollars. Otherwise, why not just have currency, right? Because that's what we do. The total U.S. money supply is growing and growing and growing and growing. Why? Well, because one, we keep printing it. Two, we keep printing it and putting it into the stock market and other asset classes. The spending never stops. We borrow that money from the central bank. All of these will be central banks controlling these digital currencies. Right? Now, I understand to some degree that, okay, so if China's going to move into the digital yuan and they make that a requirement, if you want to trade with their country, then yeah, you're probably going to see a lot of widespread adoption, forced adoption into that digital currency. It's not really a cryptocurrency, it's a digital currency, right? There is a difference there. So I don't see it as taking over from the U.S. I don't see it being successful in the aspect of what we really wanted from cryptocurrency, right? The reason we wanted cryptocurrency is we didn't want government control of it so they couldn't borrow it into insignificance, which is what's happening with paper currency or fiat currency. Basically, the digital yuan and probably the digital dollar and probably whatever digital currency is created from a government is not holding true to cryptocurrency because it's not decentralized in any way, shape, or form. It'll be completely centralized. I think the US dollar, if they ever were, and I think the Chinese yuan, as it is coming out through now, will be issued through their central banks, which is central control, right? I would not buy into this stuff. I would not get this stuff. I would not buy the Chinese yuan. The digital dollar comes out. I'm not going to be buying that. Now, there may be a time when they force us to do some of that kind of stuff. Who knows? And, that will depend widely on if people will just lay down and take it. You can't trust these global, like the Monetary Fund, the World Bank. I can't trust them. I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't trust them. I think they screw people over all of the time. They basically make us debt slaves, essentially is what it is. So there are many different ways that I could come at this argument, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it there for now. I think that if you were to closely examine this statement, that you'll come to the conclusion that this is just going to be fiat currency in a digital form. It's not going to be decentralized. It's not going to be limited, whether it be the Chinese yuan or the US dollar or Canadian, whatever the Canadians use. So it is what it is. And I just hope you guys don't get taken in by this stuff. I think he's dead wrong in this. The only way that this happens, the only way that the digital yuan will become like a the world's reserve currency is by the policies of the U.S. If we so badly damage everything, and China's in a world of hurt too. Their debt levels are going through the roof just like that. Every other country in the world, debt levels are going crazy. Every country pretty much is printing money like mad right now. Whatever you want to relate that to, maybe it's because of the epidemic that came along, or pandemic, or however you want to say that, which honestly doesn't seem like it's killed that many people comparatively. Yes, is it tragic, but I don't think we should have ever shut down our economy over it. And I think that's going to hurt us in the long run. And the longer we keep up with this farce, the worse it's going to be. And again, I could get into a lot more, but I'm going to go ahead and skip it to save you guys some time. Trust me, my views will be put out on a pretty regular basis about things like this. I watch this kind of stuff very closely because of the situation of the situation that the world is in right now. We're kind of moving from a global thing to back to where it was before, and that's got all kinds of its own problems. But I'm not sure that there's any going back from it. Basically, globalism has failed, and it will fail, and it will always fail. It's just the nature of it. People are too different that you cannot have a worldwide consensus on things. It depends on what region you lived in. It depends on what culture you grew up in. It depends on what religion you were. Unless you can get everyone to pretty much think the same way, which is nearly impossible as far as I'm concerned, then you will never really have globalism. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. My name is Jay. It's Bite Size Coin. Let me know what you think. Maybe you think I'm dead wrong. Maybe you think the digital yuan, wow, that's definitely going to be the world's next reserve currency. Or that because it gets out faster, it's going to be much better. I just don't see it. Now, maybe people have gone so far away from the fundamental ideas of the actual cryptocurrency, or they just don't care and they see a money-making opportunity and they're just going to jump on it. But I have serious reservations. I will not be investing in the digital yuan. I won't be investing in the U.S. digital currency unless they come out with a plan. I mean, even if they were to say, well, we're going to cap it, we're going to limit it to $1 gazillion, even then, there's nothing to say that once that limit's been reached, that they won't change their mind, and that the central bank will just go, oh yeah, we'll take more debt, more debt money, right? Because they make money off of every dollar that's printed or borrowed. So why wouldn't they like that? So it just depends on what America does. I mean, it's our war to lose, so to speak. If we shut down cryptocurrency, if you shut down this new technology in this country, you're probably going to doom it. Maybe not doom, and I'll give reasons for that in a later video. But it certainly will significantly cripple us against not only other countries, but the way the paradigm is shifting in the world. So, keep fighting the good fight, people. My name is Jay. I'm from Bite Size Coins, and I will check you guys later.